Well, good morning, everybody. I am out in the studio in the woods. Kind of a very pleasant fall morning. Early fall morning, late summer, early fall. Thought I'd get a little video in. It's an update on as far as camera equipment is concerned. I bought a used Lumix GX9. And also bought the little 12 to 32 millimeter zoom lens, pancake zoom lens. Not pancake when you extend it, but nice and compact, you know, sharp, just very sharp lens. You may ask, why did I do this? Well, as I explained early on when I started YouTube videos, I was a Canon shooter. I got out of professional photography. Was hired back by a company and went to work full time, so really didn't have time for professional work, and because I traveled a lot, and traveling does get in the way of you know, doing stuff for people in your own area. But I wanted to be able to take a quality camera with me on my travels, so I bought a Lumix GX9, and really liked that camera. Ended up with two of them. Long story, won't go into it. But shot a wedding. I had actually already promised to do a wedding for a friend. And so I still had my Canon 80D. So I shot this wedding with the Canon 80D, and I shot available light with the little GX9 and the 20 millimeter f1.7 pancake lens. And I was looking at the results and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with these cameras. I mean, the image quality is just fine. So, and then I, got back into professional photography. I left that sales career and kind of needed a professional grade camera. So I'd already made the switch to Micro Four Thirds, so I bought a used Lumix G9, the original G9. It was a great camera, not without its faults, video autofocus. I got it to work for me. I did a video about that, but it was still occasionally prone to glitches. And if you were doing this kind of video, you got pulsing. If you used autofocus, you got this pulsing in the background, even though it was locked onto your face. So a little bit of a problem. So when the G9 Mark II came along, I sold my G9, got the G9 Mark II, which I'm very, very happy with. I use professionally, but I don't always want to carry it around with me. Now, long-term viewers know that I had a Lumix, I should say I have a Lumix LX100 Mark II. And I was using that as my everyday camera, carrying that around. Sometimes carry that with also the Lumix ZS200. And I like the LX100 a lot, however. I just got to the point where the slowness of that power zoom was just bugging me. And it also didn't have a tilt screen. So if you're out doing street photography, you could, it was kind of hard to hold it down. You could kind of look at it at an angle. And I don't know, maybe call it nostalgia, but I really thought, geez, it'd be nice to have a GX body again. And so, of course, I really can't get a GX9 or a GX9 brand new. So I looked around and I found on KEH, I found this GX9, excellent condition. Might have been excellent plus, so just a hair below like new. And I can't tell that this is, it just doesn't seem to be a mark on this thing. So, KEH is really good about giving you a better camera than the rating would suggest. I also checked the shutter count on this, and it was just over 2,000. So this is kind of a baby as far as a camera goes. And took it out, shot with it, color, perfect. Although I've started using in Lightroom, I've started using the adaptive, the AI adaptive color profile, which seems to work really well. It's sort of, usually when I'm shooting, I have the camera set to the natural profile, and I shoot RAW plus JPEG. And if I need it to be more punchy, I'll switch. I used to just switch over to Vivid for, you know, things out here. And but natural worked really, really well for just like if you've got people, if you're doing portraits, I tended to use that over the portrait profile. But then when this Adobe Lightroom adaptive color came along, I tried it. And in comparison to the natural profile, it just gives it a little bit more pop. I mean, it doesn't get quite as Vivid, so there's still a reason to use Vivid if you want to. But anyway, I'm kind of digressing here. So yeah, I've used this, I've had this for close to 2 weeks. Went out, we had a protest here in Chicago, in the Chicago area. It was actually downtown, it was in Grant Park. Took this with also the 45-150 zoom. It's just a nice little kit. This, the 45-150, and the 20mm Pancake f1.7 is kind of a nice do-it-all kit that you can carry around with you, and it's not a lot. So shot some protest photos with both the 12-32 and the 45-150, and that protest turned into a march. So it was at, if you know Chicago, it was at Ida B. Wells Drive and Michigan Avenue, which used to be Congress Drive rather than Ida B. Wells Drive. And so big rally there. And then it went west on, a march went west on Ida B. Wells, which I followed along for a little while, but what I had to do, because this march was going to loop around the entire loop of Chicago, and it was like a mile long. So I had to get to my car, because it was getting a little late and I had to get home. I had to get to my car and get out of the parking garage and kind of head to where I knew I could get around ahead of the march and get over to the highway and get back home. So, but nice, unobtrusive little camera. I will do an additional video once I have more images from this. But as far as the LX100 Mark II is concerned, it is now on eBay, and I got a lot of extra stuff for it. You know, I bought a Vivitar 4. It was 4 separate close-up diopters that you can put on the front of the lens to get close. If you wanted to get close at telephoto on the LX100 Mark II, because the closest it gets normally under macro is at the wide end. And neutral density filter, polarizing filter, it's got a UV filter on the lens. So a bunch of extra stuff. I will put the link down in the description. So it's been up for about a day, so I haven't checked to see if there's any bids on it, but check it out there. But it's a good opportunity if you like that camera, or you're thinking about it, to get it. I will say, and I mentioned this in the listing, there is a little bit of dust spots on the sensor. And I've tried using the vacuum method to get those out. That seems to work if you get a big piece of crud on there. It pulls it out, no problem. But there are some little dust spots on the sensor. Not really a huge issue to me, because you can only see them if you stop down to f8 or below that, meaning to f11, f16, which I almost never do. You know, there's almost never a reason to actually do that. So the only reason I know this is when one time I just accidentally took a shot at about f11, and there was sky in it. I was like, oh, there's a couple of 3 or 4 dust spots on there. But I'm not sure that there is any camera with a fixed lens that doesn't eventually get dust spots. My ZS200 got a few, but actually the vacuum method worked to get those out of there. So, and boy, if you don't know what the vacuum method is, you could do a YouTube search on that. You know, I'll find a video and put a link to it on how you do this, but you know, it's a useful thing. But because the GX9 is interchangeable lenses, getting dust on the sensor, not a huge deal. Plus it's got the sensor cleaning, which Panasonic sensor cleaning, in my opinion, except for the exception of the newest cameras like the G9 Mark II, Canon was better. But you know, this one I checked, there's no dust on the sensor, so if that happens, I'll use that cleaning method. I'll use the sensor cleaning in the camera. If not, I know how to clean a sensor. You just got to be a little careful. that's it for now. It's a nice morning for a little walk, so maybe there'll be something that I got shots of that I can show you in the next video. So stay tuned. I'm Todd Banner. I will see you next time.